Hey, welcome to the tutorial video for the batch renamer. So this was created so that we could more efficiently rename a bunch of PDF documents that are downloaded, like when doing a literature review, and you get a lot of wild names that are pretty unuseful, undescriptive for PDF journal articles that are downloaded. And so you can see I've got a folder here with several of those types of documents. And so using the batch renamer, the first thing I want to do is choose any PDF in the folder that I want to convert the names, and then I can preview those, and it's going to give a list. So this is the same list of all these PDF files, and then it's going to show me what the new name will be. The general structure is the last name of the first author, underscore last name of the second author, underscore last name of the third author, and so on. And then underscore publication year. And now you can identify the default is max authors 3. You can change that up to, we can change this to 6. And get some slightly different results on these that have more than 6. You can also do fewer. You can do 1 here, and it'll change to 1. Now note, when it's not able to list all of the author names, regardless of how many you have, if you have more authors than you have in the file name, then it's going to end the author list with et al. And in some cases, though, here we had a max authors 1, but these two still have all 3 authors. Now, why is that? They're duplicates. They've got the same authors in the same order, the same publication year, and so we've got to do something to distinguish between them. And so the system will automatically exceed your max authors if needed to create a unique file name. And so in this case, it included the second author. This still wasn't unique. The third author still wasn't unique. And that's all the authors on both of them. And so it reverts to the APA guidelines. Put a letter after the publication year based on the alphabetical order of the title, and so the order in which they'll appear in the reference list. And so here it has automatically done that and put an A at the end of one and a B at the end of the other. So they're distinct file names despite having the same authors in the same order and the same publication year. And you can see that in the status. It said the status, it's going to make it a unique name, and so it was a specially created name by the app to make sure that it was unique. Most of them you see are renamed based on the DOI. And so what it does when it can read the PDFs, the first thing it looks for is the DOI, the document object identifier, and it will ping the internet to get that metadata for that article to ensure that it has the correct author list, author names, author spelling, publication year, and that's what it'll use to populate the new name. That's first priority. Here you see one that is based on PDF metadata, and so in this one it probably wasn't able to find the document identifier, the DOI, and so it went to the step 2, which is to check the PDF metadata, and so on. It has a few other steps that it'll check also. In some cases, like this one, rename unable to identify unknown, it wasn't able to identify based on anything, and so it renames it unknown 2024 in this case. So it could figure out the year of publication, but it doesn't know the author, and so it uses unknown by default. If it didn't know the year, then it would put YYYY as a placeholder for the year. Let's say we know that this article is published by, let's say, Jones. I can double click this and change unknown to Jones, hit enter, and so now it'll rename it to Jones. And I could change any of these if I want to change any other file names as well before running the system. You can also see in the notes down here sort of a summary of what it's doing. It'll remind you about the log, which I'll tell you about in a second, the tip to double click to change if needed. Let's say this is all good, and so I'm going to go ahead and click rename now, and you'll see over here in my file list, it automatically changed all of those file names according to the new name column here. Now, let's say I want to undo that. Is I made a mistake. I need to go back and fix something. It's going to place this log file in each time you do a renaming process, and the undo looks at the most recent log for the undo, and so you can't do it multiple times and undo multiple times to go back two or more steps. Now, what you can do, let's say I'll change that to 3 authors, and now I rename. It overwrites the names. It creates the new names properly, but it creates a second log. And so when you do the undo, it's always going to look at the most recent log, and that's what it's going to undo. You could delete the more recent log. If you want to go back 2 steps, you could go into the file or the folder and delete the most recent log and go back 2, and whatever the most recent log is in that folder is what it's going to revert based on. Let's see what else. Oh, the ASCII file names. So sometimes names have apostrophes, spaces, tildes, asterisks, whatever. Sometimes these characters are undesirable. Sometimes some older machines especially have difficulty reading those in file names or don't even allow them in file names. That's usually not the case these days. But if for any reason you want to ensure maximum compatibility for your file names, you could click that and all of those things would be stripped out of the new file name. But in most cases, it's not necessary, but it's an option if you decide to do that. Now, something else I want to show you is another feature. So these are all machine readable, text recognizable documents. And so if I go to this OCR folder, I've got a couple of other documents that are scanned PDFs. And so they're more like images and they're lower quality and stuff. Here's an example of one. This is actually the second one here, where it looks like it was faxed or it was scanned or something. And I can't select the text because the text isn't readable. And so in those cases, what it'll do is let me get to that folder real quick, go over here and start previewing that. And so this process is going to take a little bit longer, but it'll automatically do an OCR scan on that. And so the OCR scan does its optical character recognition. And so it'll go through the document and do a process to make that document readable. And so if it's successful, then it'll be able to identify the new name for the documents. You can see it's on the second document now, 2 out of 2. And that'll be here in just a minute. While we're waiting on that, you're on this tutorial video right now, but in case you didn't get here by clicking down here on the bottom center, this blue text, that's actually clickable, and you can click that and get right back to this tutorial video at some later time if needed. Also, my name and email address are down here in the bottom left if you want to reach out to me, if you have a suggestion, or if you run into some problems, feel free to let me know. And maybe it'll be an easy fix, maybe it'll be a desirable improvement, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here we're done. It wasn't able to read the first one, and that's not surprising because I know that that's a scanned book chapter, and it doesn't have the author's name, it doesn't have the publication year, it doesn't have the book title, it doesn't have anything in the scanned chapter. And so in this case, it identifies that as unknown YYYY based on the OCR scan. Of course, I can double click that and change that name if I want to. And the other one, the example I showed you a few minutes ago, that one, it was able to recognize the author's names and the year based on the OCR scan. And so I can rename those just as in the other case, and it creates a log in this folder, creates the new names as as indicated. So that's the basic functions of this little app, and I hope you find it easy to use and highly efficient for converting your PDF documents into more meaningful file names.